Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're joining from. We are so glad you're here. My name is Frank Gartland, and I'm here with Skillable. And I've got a few things I'd like to share in this fireside chat. So hope you're having a great day. Thanks again for joining us. But we've got a lot to talk about. And really, what I want to focus on is skilling. And skilling in the world today. We've talked about the training industry and the learning industry, and we believe that really training and learning are fantastic. They're big parts of the fabric of our society, but skilling is really where things need to go. And the difference is that skilling connotes that not only did someone go to a class and did they kind of learn something for the moment, but they've validated that they own that skill and that's now something that they actually have proven that they can do, as opposed to saying that they took a class, right? That's the difference in skilling. And we think it's important because we need more people to do jobs. It's all about competency. It's about competency in jobs. And this is just one statistic, and there are so many of them in throughout the internet. But this thing from the UK, I think, is interesting. 4/5 of the skills shortage is partially caused, at least partially, by a lack of technical skills. We get that. Like, we talk about that all the time. We know that, man, there's data science, there's developer, there's IT skills, cloud skills, so many skills that people need, and they're ever changing all the time. But I think that what I love about this is it emphasizes practical skills. It's not just that, hey, do I know that to be true? But it's, hey, can I figure that out in a real world environment? Can I use my skills to actually solve a problem or design a new thing that solves a problem? Can I then communicate clearly with other people, like how these works, because I own those skills so well? It's the technical skill, but I think it's the practical skill that is the other thing that's really missing. And that's what people like us, like platform companies, technology companies, insurance companies. I mean, where does technology not play? I mean, every industry needs folks that have these skills. So really, what's missing in the world? I think that's the question. Like, what's missing? I mean, there's no shortage of training out there for certain, and we believe that there's a few core things that are missing. So first of all, it's very hard to deliver live, real world, genuine environments for all these different technologies, set up and configured in all the particular ways that allow a particular individual to actually work on the skills that they need for specific things. It's very hard. Like a data science, just finding and downloading and setting up your R environment, or setting up Python, or setting up all the different data sets you need. It's complicated. And if you don't know how to do data science, how would you know how to set up the environment correctly, for example? So just having live environments where I can go figure things out. I can try things on my own and learn while doing. I think this next bit is, are there methods to help people actually develop the skill mastery and the confidence? So let's say I've got the live environment, and so I'm trying out some stuff and I'm figuring things out. Well, I'll tell you right now, when I was an instructor way back in the 90s, it was so common that, I would kind of do the tell part. I would say, hey, here's how this works, and I'd show some things, and I'd demo how it works, and then it'd be lab time. And I'd walk around and I'd help some folks, and then almost every time somebody would say, well, I'm done. But when would I do that? Like, what did I just do? Like, I followed the steps, I'm done, but I don't get it. Like, when someone says, I don't get it, at the end of a lesson, they don't have mastery. They don't have confidence, and they don't feel validated, right? I think the ideal here is then that the final thing is just the practical one, right? Is these environments are expensive, right? I mean, you have to pay for Azure and AWS and Google Cloud. Like you got to pay for VMs sitting somewhere in a data center, or you've got to have file storage. And we talk to customers and prospects all the time that are saying, hey, we've got tons of VMs, but our IT department's upset because we have so much storage. And we've got so many right now that we don't even know which ones are the current ones or not. It's very hard to manage all this stuff. So scaling hands-on is tough. So if these three things are true, which I think from experience personally, I know they are, and I think from a company standpoint, and we've been doing this a long time, we believe it to be true, and so do our customers. But I think there's a current reality that we need to address. As a collection of people trying to advance the world forward and better better contribute to the world, we have to just say that, hey, labs are hard and they're very expensive to scale. And as a result of this truth, people struggle with just the cost of providing hands-on. So typically they just don't. Hey, let me get a really nice, fun guy to record a cool video. That'll help. Let me do some simulations. Maybe simulations are great. I love it. And videos are great, right? All these things have room. The advancements we've made in learning are phenomenal, right? But I still believe that nothing really helps as much as a lab. As much as getting someone in there to actually try it. At some point, they need to do something in the real world and accomplish the mission. Now, when they are able to do that in a lab, the thing is, labs today really aren't designed to teach. They're just designed to work. Like labs have been so hard. Like so many times, if you work in a training company, you know that, hey, day one of the class, everyone's like, fingers crossed, like I hope all the labs work. How many times have you been to a course or heard from a buddy that they went to a course and day two their lab broke, so they had to buddy up with somebody else, right? In the remote world of IoT, when the lab breaks, it's a thing, right? Just getting labs to work is really hard, but they're not necessarily designed to teach, and that's a problem because learners miss opportunities to become more capable with these skills when the lab can help lead them through what they need to know. And I think finally they're not validated. So like I said earlier, if I do the lab and I'm like, okay, I followed the steps and it says I'm done, I did it successfully, but I don't know what I did, I don't feel validated, so I don't feel confident, right? And that we believe is a struggle. So what we have seen is that giant companies, I mean the big platform companies, the names that you know, they are coming to us saying, hey, you guys have been doing labs, scored, validated, hands-on labs for years. Can you help us? And they're doing lots of different things with labs. And even we're even finding some of them are exploring with labs a ton already. And the things that they're doing is they're doing tons of different types of skilling programs. And I think one big bucket, we're calling it validated skills development. So, this whole thing where you would go to a learning class, right? And you'd have these companies have learning groups that build the training. And I go to training, right? And that's where I hope to get my skills. And then if I know those skills well enough, and if my company wants me to, or if I want to as an individual, I can then go to an exam, an actual certification exam. And the exam is where I get validated, right? What we believe is that the pace of competency-based skilling needs to accelerate in such a way that we think these can be collapsed into hands-on exercises that are validating the development of skills. And we've seen people do this not just with training. We see people starting to add performance testing or performance-based testing. You've heard of PBT. That's basically where you go to an exam and you get multiple choice question, and then you have an actual environment pops up with a scenario, and you have to walk through the lab and prove that you can do it. And at the end of the lab, it literally grades, did it get done? Is it finished? Is that database in the right place with the right security policy? Do the right people have access? Through scripts, it goes online and actually figures that out. Is that working? But there are tons of industries using labs and shifting to hands-on labs to validate skills. What's funny then is there are other programs too that are starting to use it. We have some customers that look at their support team, their help desk team. These people all need to be skilled, and as these technologies evolve in the cloud, I mean, every month or two, something's different. So keeping your teams up to date and keeping them aware of what's going on is a huge benefit to having them just, hey, here's a lab, walk through the lab. What would you rather do with your customer support team? Have them watch a video for an hour, or have them be in an environment for an hour, walking through like how to actually do things, right? We're finding more and more people saying, okay, that second option sounds better. Additionally, there's technical sales, there's readiness, like the sales engineering team, the field engineering team. So the folks that need to know the product so well, they can go into a prospect and help demo, help answer questions, like listen to what the problems are that your customers have, and then understand your product well enough that they can actually build a solution. Or that field engineering team that goes to deploy it. I think maybe the biggest struggle is how do we get all of our partners skilled? Like that's a big one. So again, do you want all of your partners to watch a couple videos for a couple of hours each month, or would you rather them participate in some labs and actually prove that they can do it hands-on? And finally, we're seeing a huge jump in marketing and events. People that have lots of people coming to a remote marketing event, like maybe hundreds or even thousands of people. And now we're actually seeing folks coming back to doing it in person. But during that event, they like everybody to get hands-on with their software. Hey, go over to that booth and give it a shot, or go over to this screen, at any time, and you can get a real environment to walk through how these things work. And to do that at scale is something we're seeing all the time. The way that this works for us, like these are a lot of different problems that people are looking to solve. And really the thing is that there's only one company that has a full stack platform that allows this to work. So starting from the bottom up, right? The first thing is you've got to have an incredibly stable infrastructure. You've got to have a place where all these labs can live, especially the virtual machines and the containers, like where are they going to live? And then the platform has got to be scalable. So just to give you an idea, like last year we did 5.7 million lab launches last year. And so far we've launched almost 25 million. We're going to be there here pretty soon. We have 5 data centers around the world, in the Seattle area, on the East Coast. We've got Europe. We have one in Singapore, Australia. And all of these data centers, in some it's 269 terabytes of RAM, right? We've got services. So one thing that we need to do is if you decide, hey, I'd like to have my team build labs, like we want to do this. We want to build labs for our products. Like not only can we help your folks build labs, but we can actually share in the duty with you. Like we can teach them how to do it and let you guys do it all, or we can do all of it with you, or any combination therein. And then finally, there's this whole level of management and reporting and data. I mean, I can tell you when you have loads of folks, customers, employees, partners, all walking through hands-on labs, it's amazing how much data is collected about what they know, what they don't know, where they struggle. This is the type of thing that we love to help with. So let's do this. Let's get into a little demo so you can at least get a feel for what this looks like. So right here is an example of a lab. I have already launched it, just so you don't have to sit there and watch the launch screen. This is something we call a challenge lab. So we're a platform company. So we software companies like Microsoft and AWS and CompTIA and Veritas, like they come to us. They build their own labs, right? But we also use our platform. So we eat our own dog food. And we have a product that we build called Challenge Labs. And this is one of the Challenge Labs. This is an AWS lab. So you'll see over here, this is the actual lab instruction pane. And your lab developers can make this kind of whatever they want, right? And we help people walk through that. And then this is over here is AWS. We call this an AWS cloud slice. This is an idea where we have an extremely deep integration. I do want to extend that. Thank you for telling me, Mr. Challenge Lab. What this means is that we have a cloud slice. We have a deep integration with AWS, with Azure, soon with Google, right? Where you don't have to worry about the integration with AWS. We handle all that for you. We handle the creation of the tenant. We handle the tear down of the tenant once the lab is done, which is necessary to save money, right? Of course. So this is real deal AWS. So there's a new console they're looking to do. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, let's switch to that new console now. And you can see I'm actually on an AWS site. This is real deal. This is not a simulation. This is not fake. Like this is the actual system. And I can do whatever I want. I can click to any area pretty much of AWS and do whatever they would like me to do, right? Or do whatever I would like to do, I should say. So this is my challenge, and we always recommend that we do scenarios, right? So we would coach your team and to always make sure it's a scenario, put your learner in a real world spot. In this scenario, I need to create some things in AWS that we're going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. You can see it. We've got a little default information about what AWS is. So sometimes things change. Now what's beautiful about, whoop, I can't believe I just clicked that. Let me click off on that. Here we go. All right. So what's interesting about this approach, right, is that this is basically warning people saying, hey, AWS changes. Now we understand that, you understand that, but because we write our instructions where we're saying, hey, go do this, go configure this, When AWS changes, we don't need to go fix our lab. You know, that's part of the beauty of this whole thing, is that your maintenance costs when you're doing a hands-on first, kind of approach to learning, you don't have to go back and make a change every single time that your cloud app changes, right? So here it does say that we've restricted this lab some. So we're not going to let anybody go anywhere. We've used access control lists in this particular lab, which you could too, to restrict folks, but we're asking the person to create an EC2 pair named my key pair. Okay. Now I'm not an AWS guy. I'm not really sure where do I go to do that? Now it does give me a hint here that I can select anything that's green to copy something to the clipboard, which is good because I'm not a good typer, and this isn't a lesson on how to be a good typer. This is a lesson on AWS. That's good. So it's saying, hey, you can get a hint. Well, that sounds great. I would love a hint. That sounds good. So I can click a hint, and it says, if prompted, switch to the new console homepage. Well, okay. Oh, I know I did that. Right, I did that already. I opted into the page at the beginning. So good, check, I'm there. On the navigation bar, select services. So, okay, navigation bar. Oh, services right there. So services and compute. Well, there's compute. Now EC2, I know I'm in an EC2 thing. So there's EC2 image build. Okay, EC2, that's right. Now, as I go through this, because this is a guided lab, right? It is giving me some step-by-step instructions because I was stuck before, right? But now I'm like, okay, I got it. So as I move to the next steps, right, then I can still go back to, let me just work this out on my own. Like, for example, just in the UX, I'm like, key pairs right there. Well, that's what I want. I didn't read the instruction. I just saw it. Key pair's great. And I know I need to, create a key pair. I'm now learning while I'm doing it. I'm not just following instructions on that right column. I'm actually just determining and exploring things on myself. So enter a key name pair. Well, I do need to name this correctly because if I don't, when I score it later, it might not work. So I'm just going to click here. It's copied to the clipboard. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in again as the learner. I'm going to do a PEM type and I'm going to say create pair. So now there it is. I've created a key pair. I've actually done it. And I feel a little bit of, I don't know, I feel a little good about myself, a little confident that, hey, I did kind of figure that out. And then what's cool about these labs too is I can actually confirm by checking my work that this works, and it will actually go out and score that, hey, this happened. Behind the scenes, there's a script that will go out and say, hey, is there a key pair? Is it named the right thing? Yes or no? And so that is what's exciting about this, is that as a lab development team or as an instructional design team, as a team that's in charge of making sure that your audiences are skilled, you will have the power to build labs that enable people to acquire these skills faster. So let's go back to the slides really quickly and let me finish up with just a thank you. I'm really excited for what we're doing here at Skillable. I know that everybody on this planet is skillable, right? And so are you. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.